Have you ever felt like life keeps repeating the same lessons, the same pain, the same disappointments, as if something or someone is trying to get your attention? What if I told you it's not bad luck, it's not coincidence. It's a message you've ignored for too long. And the moment you finally understand it, everything about your life, your purpose, and your peace will begin to change. This is not just another motivational talk. This is the point where the universe stops whispering and starts warning, because this might be the last message before everything you're holding onto starts to fall apart. You've been asking for answers, you've been looking for a sign, something clear, something undeniable to show you that you're on the right path. But what if I told you the sign has been here all along? The universe doesn't always speak in the language of miracles. More often, it speaks in whispers through the events you overlook, the emotions you suppress, and the patterns that keep repeating until you finally understand. Every conversation that unsettles you, every door that closes, every delay that frustrates you, these are not coincidences. They are messages. The universe communicates through experience, not words. It reshapes your environment to reveal what you've been avoiding within yourself. When something keeps returning to your life, it's not punishment, it's an invitation. An invitation to grow, to shift, to align. But the problem is, most people don't listen until life starts to shout. When we resist these subtle signals, they grow louder. The discomfort increases, the lessons repeat, and before we know it, we find ourselves trapped in the same cycles, different faces, different places, same patterns. The purpose of these moments is not to harm you, but to wake you. The universe is not cruel, it is precise. It gives you exactly what you need to evolve, even when it comes disguised as pain or loss. Psychologically, this is the point where awareness becomes responsibility. Once you recognize that everything happening around you reflects something happening within you, you can no longer play the role of the victim. You begin to see how your energy, your focus, your discipline, or lack of it, create the reality you live in. The outer world mirrors the inner one. So when the world feels chaotic, it is asking you to return to your center. And perhaps that's the essence of this message, that the universe has been speaking to you, not from above, but from within. Every silence, every conflict, every failure was a call to awareness. The question is no longer whether you are receiving the message. The real question is, are you ready to listen? Because once you begin to truly listen, not with your ears, but with your awareness, your entire life begins to change. The noise fades, the signs become clear, and what once felt like chaos begins to sound like guidance. Comfort is seductive. It disguises itself as peace, but beneath it lies stagnation. Many people confuse stillness with safety, and in doing so, they begin to shrink. They trade the sharp edge of growth for the soft pillow of routine. What begins as rest becomes resistance. What feels like balance becomes avoidance. And slowly, without realizing it, they drift away from their own potential. You see, the mind is designed to conserve energy. It seeks familiarity because the familiar feels safe. But safety and growth rarely coexist. The same comfort that protects you from pain also protects you from transformation. And the longer you remain within that bubble, the quieter your inner fire becomes. This is how dreams die, not through sudden failure, but through gradual surrender. From a psychological point of view, every time you choose comfort over challenge, you reinforce a pattern of avoidance. The brain learns that discomfort equals danger, and it begins to steer you away from the very situations that would strengthen you. Yet, growth requires friction. The human spirit was not built to remain static. It was built to evolve, to adapt, to stretch. Every great transformation demands a moment of discomfort, a moment where you must face yourself and decide whether you will rise or retreat. The universe will never hand transformation to the passive. It will test your discipline, your patience, your willingness to act when the emotion is gone. Because comfort is not just physical, it's emotional, mental, even spiritual. We stay in familiar thoughts, familiar fears, familiar self-doubt because they're known. But the unknown, that's where your power lives, that's where life begins to respond differently. So ask yourself, when did comfort become your identity? When did hesitation start feeling like peace? You cannot awaken while protecting your weakness. You cannot receive more while clinging to less. Every step toward your higher self demands that you leave behind the version of you that prefers ease over effort. And maybe this is the truth you've been avoiding. Your comfort zone is not your friend, it is your silent enemy. It doesn't attack, it slowly convinces you to settle. But the moment you choose discipline over desire, discomfort over delay, that's the moment the war within begins to shift in your favor. Most people mistake freedom for the ability to do whatever they want, whenever they want, but that kind of freedom often leads to chaos. It's not freedom, it's indulgence. The deeper truth is this: freedom without discipline becomes self-destruction. The one who cannot master his own impulses will always be enslaved by them. And so, real freedom begins not with permission, but with control, the quiet authority you have over your own mind. Think about it. When you are ruled by emotion, by distraction, by comfort, you are not free, you are reactive. Every notification dictates your attention, every craving dictates your action, every fear dictates your decision. You're being pulled in 100 directions, and yet you believe you're choosing. True choice requires awareness. And awareness is born from discipline, from the ability to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, to choose what aligns with your highest self instead of what pleases your temporary mood. Philosophically, discipline is the foundation of all higher forms of freedom. A musician only plays freely because he has mastered the discipline of practice. A thinker only speaks freely because he has disciplined his thoughts. A warrior only moves freely because he has disciplined his body. In every domain of life, freedom follows structure, never the other way around. This is why people who chase ease never find peace. They believe they're escaping control, but what they're really doing is surrendering it. They become controlled by whatever feels good in the moment, the sugar, the screen, the excuse, the emotion. It's an invisible prison built not of walls, but of habits. And breaking free from that prison requires one key realization. Discipline is not a limitation of freedom. It is the price you pay to earn it. When you can control what you think, what you say, and what you do, no one else can. No circumstance can overpower you. No temptation can define you. That is real freedom, to move through life guided by intention, not impulse. So remember this. Freedom is not the absence of discipline, it is the reward for mastering it. The more control you gain over yourself, the less control the world has over you. And that truly is power. Power is not built in a single moment of inspiration. It is forged through repetition, through the small, disciplined choices that no one sees. Most people overestimate what they can change in a day, and underestimate what they can transform in a year of consistency. True strength is not intensity, it's endurance. The person who shows up every day, even when the feeling is gone, becomes unstoppable. Consistency is a form of self-respect. It's a promise you make to yourself and keep. Each time you follow through, even in the smallest way, you strengthen the bond between who you are and who you want to become. And over time, that inner trust becomes power. You begin to believe your own word. You start to see yourself as capable, not because of what you've achieved once, but because you've proven to yourself that you will not quit. From a psychological point of view, consistency rewires the mind. It trains your nervous system to associate effort with stability, not struggle. You stop needing motivation to act because the act itself becomes your nature. This is where transformation begins, when discipline is no longer an external force, but an internal rhythm. You no longer fight your habits begin to fight for you. Philosophically, every great structure, whether it's a temple, a philosophy, or a human being, is built brick by brick. There is no shortcut to mastery. There is only presence. The smallest action, done consciously, holds more power than the grandest dream left untouched. What you repeat, you become, and what you neglect, you lose. The gap between potential and reality is filled by consistency. The truth is simple but difficult. Those who wait for the right moment never find it. Those who act, even when conditions aren't perfect, eventually create the right moment. Consistency turns effort into identity. It turns motion into momentum. And when you reach that state, you no longer chase success. Success begins to follow you. So remember this: consistency is not glamorous, but it is divine. It is the daily act of honoring your purpose. And in a world obsessed with speed, the one who learns to move steadily, with focus, with discipline, with heart, will always arrive first. Pain is the language of transformation. It's the one experience that no human can escape, and yet, it's the one most try to avoid at all costs. But avoidance does not end pain, it only prolongs it. Growth begins the moment you stop running from what hurts and start listening to what it's trying to teach you. Because pain, when understood, becomes a mirror showing you not what is broken, but what is ready to evolve. Most people see pain as punishment. They ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But the wiser question is, what is this teaching me? Psychologically, pain forces awareness. It interrupts the illusion of control and brings you face to face with your truth. It strips away the noise, the ego, the masks, until only what is real remains. That process feels uncomfortable because it exposes the parts of you that need change. Yet, that exposure is the exact point of transformation. Philosophically, every great awakening begins in discomfort. The seed must crack before it becomes a tree. The caterpillar must dissolve before it becomes a butterfly. And you must lose who you were before you can meet who you're meant to be. Pain does not destroy, it refines. It burns away what is false so that what is true can survive the fire. When you embrace this, your relationship with pain changes completely. You stop asking for an easier life and start asking for the strength to handle the one you have. You stop seeing challenges as obstacles and begin to see them as invitations to rise. The very moments you think are breaking you are the ones preparing you. Every scar carries wisdom, every fall builds endurance, every heartbreak expands your capacity to love and to understand. And so, pain becomes not your enemy, but your guide, a teacher disguised as struggle. You begin to see that life's greatest lessons never arrive in comfort. They arrive in the moments that demand your courage. So remember this: you do not grow despite the pain, you grow through it. The ones who learn to face it with awareness, patience, and trust become unshakable. Because once pain becomes your teacher, Nothing in life can ever truly defeat you again. The most powerful victories in life are silent. They don't make noise, they don't seek attention, and they rarely come with applause. True success begins in the moments when no one is watching, when the only witness to your effort is your own conscience. That's where strength is built, not in public, but in private, not in noise, but in silence. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen, yet few want to be refined. But the refinement of character doesn't happen under the spotlight. It happens in solitude, in the quiet hours of self-discipline, in the choices you make when no one will ever know. When you resist the temptation to quit, to complain, or to take the easy way out, you begin to shape a different kind of power. It's the power of integrity, the kind that can't be faked or performed. Psychologically, this inner victory represents a shift from external validation to internal alignment. You stop chasing recognition because the act itself becomes the reward. The more you act in accordance with your values, the more peace you begin to feel. You no longer need others to see your worth because you have seen it for yourself through the work you've done in silence. This is what builds unshakable confidence, not arrogance, but certainty. Philosophically, every great transformation is rooted in stillness. A seed grows in darkness before it breaks the surface. A warrior trains unseen before he steps into the arena. Likewise, your transformation is not meant to be instantly visible. The quiet phase is not a delay, it is preparation. The universe often hides your progress to protect your process, because what grows in silence grows strong. And when the moment finally comes, when the world begins to see what you've become, they will call it sudden. But you will know the truth. You will know it took years of unseen effort, unseen struggle, unseen victories. That's the paradox of greatness. By the time the world notices, you've already outgrown the need to be noticed. So, remember this, the loudest victories are the ones that require no sound. They live within you in your discipline, your patience, your faith. Win there first, and everything else will follow.